Hey, welcome to our Dead Talk, the place where we discuss all shows and comics within the Walking Dead universe. I'm Colleen.
And I'm Jeremy. Today's podcast, we're discussing The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 2, titled Acheron Part 2. The air date, August 29th, 2021.
The plot for the second episode is Maggie's mission takes the team through a subway tunnel, challenged by lurking walkers and a recalcitrant Negan. With Eugene's group, Yumiko seeks answers about her brother and demands expedited processing into the Commonwealth.
Before we start, we want to give a big spoiler warning. We'll be talking about the entire episode during this podcast, so obviously there will be spoilers for you if you haven't watched the episode yet. You've been warned. Alright, so we gave you the plot. You know what happens in this episode. We both definitely love how this episode starts off exactly how the last one ended.
Yes.
Or right where the last one ended. Mm-hmm. With Maggie hanging off the back of the train.
The train, yeah. And I really like that they added in there. You could just faintly hear her say, Negan! Mm-hmm. So, like, dang. Then it's like a shot from underneath, so you can see the train tracks. Mm-hmm. But they have her yelling for Negan, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think you pointed out that they have a shot from above with all the walkers kind of coming on top of Maggie.
Yeah.
Just before she crawls underneath the train, much like Glenn.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of Glenn.
You know, the above shot of Glenn, just before he gets eaten by the walkers, and then he crawls underneath the dumpster.
Well, he didn't get eaten by the walkers.
Well, just before, he almost.
Almost, yeah, like, we didn't know what the heck
Obviously
happened to Glenn. Now, we're obviously going back a couple seasons ago with the dumpster situation. Now, that episode, which at some point when Jeremy and I, when we do our rewatch, we'll eventually get into that episode and doing a podcast for that one. And we'll obviously talk about that more. But they let us hang. From what I remember, they let us hang for a couple weeks before we found out what happened to Glenn.
It was like a whole season, wasn't it?
I don't know if it was a whole season.
I don't remember, but it was a long time.
But I do remember being at work and talking to some other coworkers that watched The Walking Dead, and we couldn't believe that they were taking so long to give us the answer on if Glenn was alive or not. But like I said, we'll talk about that in another podcast when we get to that episode. It'll be a while before that podcast airs because we're probably going to do like one episode a week kind of deal. So it's going to be a little bit. But still, go back to the current season 11, episode 2. It was pretty cool. And that was one hell of an opening. And then they jumped right into the intro music. So it was like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, obviously, I love Maggie. I don't want her to die. But if I were Negan, and I'm just going to let somebody fall to their death, I'm not just going to turn my back and assume everything went to plan.
Right.
What the hell? Like,
yeah, I know.
Did he have the gun at this point? I don't know if he even had the gun.
I don't remember. I don't think he had a gun because we see later in this episode that Maggie hands him a gun. Yeah. So I don't believe he had a gun. I think he just had a crowbar and probably some sort of knife on him somewhere.
Well, maybe. I don't know. Not to... I didn't think about that, but like if he were to like bend down and then like smack her in the head with the crowbar.
Dude, that would have been brutal as all heck.
I mean, I'm glad he didn't. I mean, I'm glad we didn't kill off Maggie. I love Maggie. Yeah. I want to see more of her. Mm-hmm. But if he was just going to let her die anyway. Yeah. He should have finished
the job. See, I know. Like,
but, you know.
I agree. I didn't want Maggie to die and I didn't want her to die that way, especially Negan. Just cold blood murder her. Especially all these years of him working on himself and improving and him being out of the cell that they put him in and all that. Yeah. I don't think that he would have been... I don't think he would go back to that.
Yeah. The other thing I was thinking about, too, is, like, if Negan... if Maggie did die... If Maggie did die, Negan would have been responsible for both of Herschel's parents.
Dang.
And then he would have gotten back. And then would he be helping to take care of Herschel? How would he like get around? Like, people know about
Glenn,
but they wouldn't know about Maggie.
No, yeah, that would be anything
he
for
would
him.
know that. I don't know how he would deal with that. I don't know.
And I feel like Negan isn't the same hard ass that he was years ago. You know? I feel like he's softened up. And I also wonder if he doesn't really know Herschel at this point because in the timeline, Maggie's probably only back for a few days so far. But I wonder if Negan thinks about Judith because he got really close with Judith. So he would probably think, oh man, what would Judith think of this? Would she be disappointed in me?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good quote. Yeah, that's a good one. Something to think about.
Yeah. And I know you talking about the crowbar and stuff with Maggie. So everybody gets into the train car. Like, they all enter the train car from the ceiling, and there's like a hatch of some sort. And then they all start clearing the walkers, and Negan gets in there, and he looks guilty as all heck.
Yeah. But he also, I have here, like, he also doesn't look happy.
No, he doesn't.
It. Like,
no.
he doesn't look happy. He doesn't look like he, what do you say? Like the cat that ate the canary?
Yeah, I actually have that in my notes for something else later down the episode.
Oh, okay.
The cat that ate the canary.
Yeah, but he doesn't look like he's happy about the situation.
No.
Either he's not sure whether he got away with it, or he's just genuinely like, man, I really didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But also,
now what do I do?
Yeah. He also, like, probably really felt that she was a liability. Like,
yeah,
it might not have just been to cover his own ass. Like, it might have been, she's a loose cannon right now. She's going to get other people killed. I mean, obviously, she's trying to kill me.
Yep.
But she's going to get other people killed.
Yeah.
She already almost did.
What do you mean?
Well,
when they were going through the tunnel. Yeah.
Yeah, in episode 1, Cage. She almost got Cage killed.
Gage.
Oh, Gage.
Yeah.
Cage. Johnny Cage. Nicolas Cage. Gage. Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, so they're trying to clear the walkers. They get down there, and one of the guys, I think it was Duncan, I think that was his name, he made a comment about the doors are rusted shut because they're trying to open them. And then, Negan looks super freaking guilty, and someone asks, like, where's Maggie? And then Negan ends up saying that she was right behind me. And then they kind of go into a conversation. I think Alden tries to go back up the hatch to see if he can go get her, and then someone stops him and is like, no, she wouldn't want us to do that. And I see the point of that, because she would probably know, well, if they come searching for me, they're going to risk their lives, and she's been around the block enough to know it's just, you got to move forward and get the mission done. And I think she'd be willing to. She wouldn't
at
be
this point. Yeah,
I don't think she would be hurt that they didn't come looking for her. I think she would rather they not come looking for her.
Yeah, she'd probably understand.
Yeah.
Did you make a note about the sleeping walkers in the train at all?
No, I didn't. But yeah, they had some of the sleeping walkers in that train too. Like, they weren't so much sleeping as they were just chilling, I guess.
I'm calling them sleepers.
Okay, chilling sleeping walkers.
What do you think they dream about?
Brains. Guts.
Flesh. Flesh.
Yeah. All right, so now our next scene that we're at is with Dog and Daryl. And I like the transition from everybody down in the train to Daryl, because they had, I think it was Negan, trying to pry open one of the doors to get to the next train car. And as he's trying to pry it open, then it's like if you blink, you miss it. They had Daryl breaking down one of the brick walls.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool transition. I liked that.
Yeah, they had the same color grading and everything like that. And it shows that, Negan can't open a real door, but Daryl can open up a concrete wall. It's like,
Daryl,
there's no door here. There should be a door. Let me get my crowbar.
I'll make my own.
Dog. Get my crowbar.
And then once Daryl gets into that subway tunnel, train tunnel, he sees a spray painted wall, and it says, "It comes for us all." There's a lot of like weird cryptic things up on that wall.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of weird things in this subway tunnel. Like, I have a lot of questions, and are they going to answer these questions?
Yeah, Are you talking about, like, the body with the arm chopped off?
Yeah, with the money.
Bag?
Yeah, he had, like, stacks. It looked like a guy. His arm was handcuffed to, it looked like a suitcase, but his arm was chopped off at, like, the elbow area.
Yeah.
So his arm that was handcuffed was laying on the ground, and the stacks of $100 bills were in the suitcase that was next to him.
Yeah. So they went through all the trouble to remove this guy's arm to open up the case. I'm assuming they knew that there was money in there.
Yeah, but
then they left all the money.
Yeah, unless they were inundated by walkers.
Maybe.
But, like, what are these people down there from? Are they from the original fall?
Yeah.
Like, from everything going to shit? Because
again, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, a very long time ago. And then later on in this episode, Yumiko kind of calls out the Commonwealth and the two interrogator people, and she basically talks about the currency being the U.S. dollar. So do these people have some sort of tie with the Commonwealth?
Yeah.
And then, like, Daryl sees some of the other spray paint things on the wall with the crown, the people wearing the crowns. And Truth Lies was another thing over the spray paint area with the people wearing the crown, and it seemed like people were fighting each other for the crowns.
There's that too. What if they were? What if these are people that were fleeing from the Commonwealth?
Huh. Oh, maybe. And then if they knew that the US dollar was their currency, maybe they wanted to take as much money from the Commonwealth as they possibly could. I wonder. I don't know. But then Daryl ends up, I think there was a part, Dog found a person over there, a walker that was sleeping.
Yeah.
I think that was later, though. That was a little bit after the next scene with, like, Princess and stuff.
Dog needs more training, by the way. He just runs off. Like, you got to be able to, say, heal.
Yeah. Well, it's funny. I think last episode you had said, like, Dog's really trained until he's not. Because
until he's not.
He does listen to Daryl, and then all of a sudden he just does his own thing, and it's like there's no talking to Dog, and he's just gone.
I mean, I think of those military dogs, and, like, they are...
super trained.
On the spot. When you say something, they just do it automatically, no matter what they're doing.
Yeah.
But, it's Dog.
Yeah. Daryl ended up finding some sort of bag, and it was a clear bag with some snacks in it, and then there was a $100 bill. And it's whoever owned the bag, their young children wrote a note on the $100 bill. And it's interesting how, to us, a $100 bill, that's quite a bit of money.
Oh, yeah.
But in this world, apparently, or at least to these kids, they just use it as scrap paper. So they wrote like a note for their dad, and it was something like, "Dear Dad, you always said that if you didn't come back in a week to move on. We went looking. It's been 3 weeks, so we're going. I'll watch Jesse and turn on the radio every day at 10. See you both soon. Love, Tom and Jesse." And then Daryl pulls out a Polaroid of two little kids, and the picture is one of the kids is holding a little bunny rabbit, like a stuffed animal, and that was also the one that Maggie picked up on the train tracks in the previous episode.
They obviously didn't get very far.
Yeah, I mean, unless they dropped the bunny. But again, if they were originally from the beginning of the fall, that's 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So those kids looked like they were in like single digit age. So they might be in their 20s right now. Like, so we don't know. I mean, they could have made it.
Maybe.
But their bunny is just down there.
Now, I know we're talking about spoilers from way earlier, but I know you had made a comment about this scene where they're talking about the radio and calling every
every day at 10.
Every day at the same time.
Yeah.
Very much like Rick
and Morgan.
Yeah.
Yeah, from the first season. Yeah, and I'm sure everyone listening probably remembers that, because that's a pretty big thing.
That was the first episode.
I think it was either the first or the second episode. Yeah, it was definitely the first season.
That was the first. No, I think that, it was definitely first season. I think it was
you might
the first
be right.
episode,
It might
though.
be the first episode, because I think the first episode ends with Rick getting stuck in the tank. Mm-hmm. So and then that's when Glenn chimes in.
Hey, dumbass.
Now we're at with Princess and Yumiko. They're sitting at a table together, and they're talking about everything going on, and they both seem pretty stressed out. And then I guess one of the guards walks by, and Princess kind of feels like she knows that we tried to leave last night, and then because I guess she keeps looking over at them. Yeah. And Yumiko's like, she doesn't know that we just tried to leave.
It seems like just an intimidation thing, or it seems like a guard thing.
Probably, yeah.
Like, I'm watching you.
Yeah. They're talking about the photo board, and Yumiko wants to talk to someone about it, trying to figure out where her brother is. If he's probably still alive, he's in the Commonwealth, whatever.
That's hard. That's tricky, because, I mean, she doesn't know how long that photo's been up.
Right.
So, I mean, she is taking a big risk trying to find him. He might not even be there anymore. That could have been years ago.
Yeah, we don't know how long.
But I understand, like, I would totally have to take that chance.
I would too. Yeah, I would definitely want, if I saw a loved one's picture on there. Because really, when you think about it, when we're this far into the apocalypse, who knows how many people that you knew before everything went to crap, how many people that you knew are totally gone.
Yeah.
So if you found a picture of anybody that you knew in that previous life, it's like you definitely would want to try and find them.
And again, the Commonwealth doesn't seem like they're malicious so far.
They're definitely trying to throw some intimidation stuff at them.
They're very, very cautious. They're doing a lot of, again, intimidation.
Yeah, lots of that.
Yeah, they're not torturing them or anything like that.
Yeah. Eugene ends up coming over to the table that Yumiko and Princess are sitting at, and Eugene starts really freaking out, and he comes to the table, and he's saying that Ezekiel's been taken, and he can't find him, and they're basically, all three of them start to get pretty nervous, and then Yumiko keeps kind of stressing to them, just stick to the story, and then I think it was something Eugene may have said, it kind of like made her jump up off the table, or off her chair, and she goes over to talk to one of the guards, and she's kind of getting in the face of one of the guards and says that she wants to speak to whoever she answers to.
Yeah,
and then I
turns into a Karen.
Yeah, she turns into a Karen. And I love when Princess is
sorry if anybody out there is named Karen listening to this.
I know.
It's just a common phrase now.
Yeah, poor Karens of the world.
Sorry.
But I love that Princess is like, that's right, we want to talk to the manager. And she starts like moving her hand around and stuff. It's pretty cute. We go over to Yumiko being placed back in one of the rooms, and she's talking to the interrogators again, like the guy that's taking the notes.
Ballsy.
She is. And I feel like she's just getting super fed up. Like, she's kind of just like, F it. I'm just going for it now. I think she's still going to stick to the story. She's still going to protect the group of her people that's there right now, as well as everyone else at their settlement and stuff. But I think she's definitely fed up.
Yeah, she's showing that she's not stupid, too. Look, I'm not stupid. I see what you guys are doing. You guys think you're analyzing me. I'm analyzing you just as much.
Dude, I loved when she said that. That kind of gave me chills when she said, oh, you think you've been assessing me? Oh, no, dear. I've been the one assessing you. And then she kind of called it. Well, I don't know if she called it, but the girl definitely seemed to get kind of taken aback.
Oh,
when
they
Yumiko,
both did.
Yeah, when Yumiko kind of said, like, you must have been a forensic psychologist, and the other guy taking the notes was possibly some sort of researcher. And
they didn't correct her. So I wonder if she was, like, spot on, or were they like, you're close.
Yeah, probably pretty close. It sounds like she could have been close.
Yeah. And then I liked Mercer coming in with the coffee. I don't know, like, Mercer. I like this character. Even though he's a quote-unquote bad guy right now, because we don't really know who he is and what he's standing for. He's definitely a hard ass. But we see a lot of compassion coming from him, too.
Yeah. Yeah, later in the episode with Eugene, I have some notes that I want to talk about when we get to that point about him seeming to be kind of compassionate. I like this scene where Yumiko is just really starting to call them out, and I feel like you have to be a certain type of person to be able to be a lawyer, and you have to have a thick skin and a good spine, and I feel like she's kind of bringing back her lawyerness with this, because it kind of does take some balls to go against these people when they're super intimidating like that.
Yeah. And
I do like she mentions her brother being a thoracic surgeon, and then that's when Mercer comes in, and he comes in with a coffee like you mentioned, and I like that she smiles because she knows she's a badass at that point. Like, she kind of knows that, okay, did I just get accepted kind of?
Like, I'm going to knock down these dominoes like a house of cards. Checkmate.
Wow, that was a lot of different things. I want to talk a little bit about Yumiko's brother being a thoracic surgeon. And for those of you that don't know, that thoracic surgeons, they typically operate on like the heart, lungs, and esophagus, and the major blood vessels inside the chest, as well as the bony structures and tissues that form and support the chest cavity. I kind of already knew what a thoracic surgeon was.
I had no idea.
But I kind of wanted to get a better definition so I didn't just ramble forever trying to explain what it is. But that brings me to think, well, I just had this thought now. I know we kind of discussed the thoracic surgeon thing before, but that made me think, if they operate on the vessels and everything like that in your chest area, including your esophagus, could they possibly, if her brother's alive and if he is a surgeon and he's currently practicing medicine within the Commonwealth, if he could possibly treat Ezekiel?
Oh.
Because they might have the technology, like the actual technology for doing radiation treatments and chemotherapy treatments.
That'd be cool.
That would be really cool. So maybe Ezekiel could be saved.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be really cool. But then we had also talked about earlier with the thoracic surgery, could he be doing any sort of research on the apocalypse? Like, what caused the zombie outbreak?
Right.
Because I was like, oh, I wonder if they could do anything. I figured they would be working on, obviously, the chest cavity, so then it would work on the spine a little bit, and then with the spine, the spinal cord. And that's where they're kind of saying the zombie apocalypse kind of really affects your brainstem.
Yeah.
So I wonder if he could be part of a research team to do with that.
I would probably imagine so.
Wouldn't
especially with
crazy?
this Commonwealth. I'm sure they have the resources.
Mm-hmm. And think about it, we're in the last season.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's how they're going to take it. Are they going to freaking cure the zombie apocalypse?
Either cure it, or I wonder if they're just going to leave us hanging. Like, what the heck?
Because we still have to find out. We still have the show The World Beyond. That's going to be a whole 10 episodes. Yeah. And then we're supposedly still getting that movie with Rick Grimes.
I hope so.
So, and if he was taken by helicopter, which in a coming... Did you see the preview for some of the upcoming season with The Walking Dead? I think her name was Janice Janice? She was with the garbage. Jadis, you're right, Jadis. With the garbage people. Yeah. She was there, and she was the one.
Even shorter haircut.
Yeah, even shorter, if that was possible. But, well, it was possible, because she could have shaved it. But, yeah, she was in the preview.
Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and for those of you that remember, or don't remember, whatever, she was accompanying Rick when he was kind of blown off the bridge at that scene when Rick kind of left the show and he got taken in the helicopter. She's the one that called. And with the, like, I have an A or a B.
Yeah, I was just going to say, did we find out
yet? I don't think yet.
Did they drop any hints?
I don't think so. What an A and B mean.
In the last couple of episodes, have we found out? Because they're with the Commonwealth now.
Yeah, but we were with the first episode, too. I was thinking more of just we were kind of in the subway tunnel. But you're right, yeah, we were with the Commonwealth for the first episode. But I haven't heard anything about A and Bs yet. We might find out more. I'm hoping we find out more.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and I think this first half of the season they'll probably end. I think it was like somewhere in the middle of October, and then we'll probably, if they do it like normal, like before COVID, they used to start in October and I think end in November and then pick back up in like February, March or something. So I wonder when they're gonna restart everything again. I'm hoping we're gonna start getting some answers.
Me too.
It's gonna be crazy. So now we're with Eugene and Princess again, and Princess really has to pee.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she gets up, and she thinks she could hold it, but then she's like, nope, I can't hold it now that I start thinking about it. So she gets up, and she goes over to the guards and asks if she can go pee, and she must have thought that she had to go outside, because she was like, wait, you have toilet paper? So I think that was a bit of a shock, because when was the last time they probably used toilet paper in this apocalypse?
Yeah.
And I wonder if that was another callback to 2020.
Yeah.
With how scarce it was with toilet paper. Jeez Louise. But I think at one point, I can't remember when it happened. It must have been before she left Eugene to go and ask about the bathroom, because I think Eugene, he's getting super freaking nervous at this point.
Yeah.
Like, he is sweating, and he just looks so nervous.
I'm surprised how nervous... I mean, I kind of am surprised how nervous he is, because he's been through a lot.
He has been.
I mean, obviously he's not been the bravest character in the show.
No.
But I'm surprised that he can't handle this a little bit better.
Yeah, I agree. I wonder if... Part of me wonders if it's a bit of a play. Like, if he's acting that nervous.
Yeah, but I feel like he would let his guard down a little bit more around his friends.
Yeah, but then maybe he's thinking because the guards are there, and the guards are pretty much always watching them. But I like when... at one point, Princess says that if that fine-ass dude in orange... I think took Yumiko in there kind of thing, or he just walked... Yeah, if he just walked into the room, everything must be going all right. But... I wonder if that's a bit of a call to, because like Jeremy and I have already stated, we haven't read the comics yet, besides just skimming parts of them. But I have heard that Princess and Mercer hook up. So I wonder if that was her little thing of, if that fine-ass dude in orange, that's what they're talking about. It's an interesting
combo. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's so straight, like he's very stoic. Not stoic, what's the word I'm looking for? Stone-faced.
Oh, yeah, he's
very hard-assed.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she's like the complete opposite. She's like very colorful and like off the wall. I don't know. What would their kids be like?
Huh. I don't know. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see, because with the television show, they don't always stick with things with the comics.
Yeah, that's true.
And we haven't read really the comics yet, so I'm really excited to start reading those.
Yeah. But yeah, going back to the toilet paper question. I mean, like, it does make sense. Like, what did they wipe with this entire time if they didn't have toilet paper?
Yeah, I don't know. I know, I think about that, I'm just like, eesh, how bad do they stink?
Yeah.
Not only do the walkers reek, but eesh.
So they're using, like, fabric that they find or something. I don't know.
I feel like they would run out of fabric to use after a while. I don't know, maybe leaves, but then what do they do in the winter? They have to figure something
Apocalyptic bidets.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe they have some sort of bidet system, but what do they do when they go out, like, on a mission? They don't have bidets or running water.
Good band name, by the way. Apocalyptic Bidet.
Yes, I agree. There we go. We'll start that, too.
Yeah.
All right, so after that, Eugene is just sitting there. He looks so freaking nervous, and he's looking like the cat that ate the canary. Like, I wish he would just chill a little bit, because they have, when Princess goes out to use the bathroom, that one guard is left, and there's the two guards out there, and they kind of look at each other, and the one guard is really looking over at Eugene. It makes me think, Eugene, you gotta calm down a little bit. You're looking like the cat that ate the canary.
Gotta play it cool.
Yeah, he's looking way too freaking nervous. then we're over to Daryl, and he's crawling in the tunnel looking for Dog. The people with Negan are still trying to pry open the train door, so they're kind of bouncing between the two. They're bouncing between what's going on with Daryl and then what's going on with Negan and everything.
Building up some suspense there.
Yeah. And then when they're trying to pry open the door, Negan and everyone hears pounding. And they're like, I was confused at first too. I was like, oh my God, are there walkers on the roof now? How the hell did they get up there? And then we realized it was Morse code. And Negan's like, oh crap.
Well, that's what you get for not finishing the job.
Yo, double tap.
Yeah.
If any of you watch Zombieland, you will get that reference.
Yeah, you got double tap. Again, we don't want to see Meg gone.
No.
But if Negan's going to do it, you might as well do it right.
Yeah, you have to be smart about it. So, yeah, it ends up being Maggie. Oh, man, she cracked him hard with that gun. She kind of said her take on what happened, that Negan just left her there. And Negan was basically, yeah, like, so what? And then,
yeah, I love how blunt he is.
Yeah, and then Gabe is just like, you're just admitting it. And Alden's just kind of like, you tried to kill her? And Negan said, no, she was in trouble. I decided to not help. There's a big difference.
Yeah. Now, I have it written down here. It's just like Batman. I'm not going to kill you, but I don't have to save you either.
Ooh, snap.
Yeah, I loved that line in Batman. And yeah, this definitely works here too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't blame Negan. And again, I like Maggie. I do. I like Maggie, so I'm not trying to want to see... I don't want to see her dead. I really don't.
Yeah.
But I don't blame Negan either for just kind of being like, taking the easy way out.
He feels she's going to kill him.
Yeah.
And she's flying off the cuff. Mm-hmm. She's possibly going to get them killed or hurt or whatever.
Yeah.
And she doesn't seem to really care. She's gotten really cold.
Yeah, she has. And Negan has kind of always been about self-preservation. So if Negan kind of saw an out to that, and he wouldn't really have to answer too many questions, and it wouldn't be too obvious. It would be very easy for other people to accept the fact that, yeah, Maggie slipped, walkers got her. Mm-hmm. They knew the situation that was happening. They knew the walkers inundated them at the train track, so it wouldn't be too far-fetched that that's actually what happened. But then they grab Negan, they pin him against the wall, and they're giving him a huge problem. And that...
Pretty surprised, actually, that they didn't kill him right there.
Me too.
That's another one that, like, wow. Like, if they thought they were close to killing him earlier, after admitting to letting Maggie fall, possibly to her death, they held back pretty well.
Yeah, they did. And the one girl basically said, Maggie, you give us the nod and we will take care of it. And you could see that it was rolling in her head a little bit. She was kind of contemplating it, but then they get distracted because then they hear, help! And it was Gage on the other side of the train car. And Negan actually seemed pretty, like, I think he was like, kid! Like, he got kind of stressed out seeing Gage on the other side. And then they asked him, like, did you close the door when you were trying to run away? And he's like, oh, crap.
Oh, no.
It's like, oh, crap, so you did not. And then I love Negan. He tries to go over to the train car door that Gage is stuck on the other side. He's like, Sasquatch! Yeah, Sasquatch, give me a hand!
I love that line. What? Okay, real quick. I don't have this written down, but what nickname do you think Negan would give you?
Give me?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't even know.
I didn't think about this either, so I have no answer yet, but...
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. I don't know. Hey, yeah. That'd be my nickname. I don't know. I really don't. What do you think he would give you?
First thing, only because I wear glasses, I'm thinking Four Eyes, but...
That's just a classic one, though. You think he'd really go that classic?
No, he would definitely come up with something better.
Yeah. I really don't know. I don't know what he would call me.
Numbnuts. I don't know why that one popped in my mind.
Didn't Abraham say something about numbnuts?
He said a lot about nuts. I was going to say he said a lot about nuts.
See, I feel like if Negan and if Negan gave the chance for him to know our group of people, and I feel like he would have loved Abraham. Yeah, I feel like he and Abraham would have gotten along pretty well. I mean, in a sense of their humor, maybe, but they both seem to be slightly dominant.
Yeah.
But Abraham seemed to be more willing to take, what's the word I'm looking for?
Not advice, but commands.
Yeah, commands. He would take,
Yeah, it's weird. Like, he was such a big guy, and he had a military background and everything like that. But he did seem like he wanted to be told what to do.
Sometimes it seemed that way, yeah.
Because, I mean, even though he was the one kind of calling the shots when he was with Eugene.
Yeah.
But he wanted Eugene more or less to tell him where to go and what to do.
Yeah, basically. Yeah,
and
he
then,
wanted to tell him.
And then he hooked up with Rick.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, Rick, I mean, not that Rick was, well, yeah, I don't know. He kind of fell under Rick's quote-unquote rule.
Kind of command.
Yeah. Command's the better word for it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a good guy to...
Good soldier.
Yeah, exactly. That was exactly the word I was looking for. That's a good word to use to just kind of summarize up what I'm thinking in my head.
Yeah.
So I wonder... Oh, man, it's a shame that Negan took a freaking bat to Abraham, too. Because I feel like I think they would have been cracking dad jokes constantly together. I feel like they would have been, like, the legit dad joke team.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we go over to Gage, and, you know, at first, honestly, like, when Jeremy and I first watched it, I forgot who Gage was. I did.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, I forgot who he was. And then we watched it through, and I think we saw it on The Talking Dead, or maybe at the end where Angela King kind of talked about it, and he was one of the kids that came over to Lydia and kind of tried to beat her up during the Whisperer time and everything with that. So, at first when we watched it, I was like, what the hell? They're just leaving this poor kid over there?
Yeah.
And they're calling him a coward? I'm like, what the hell? Why are they calling him a coward? Yeah. And then I realized what was really
Gabriel.
happening. Yes.
I was like, whoa, Gabriel is calling this guy a coward.
Yeah, you think he's a freaking priest. Come on, man.
Yeah, he's a priest. He's a priest. We know his background.
Oh, he was a coward, yeah.
Oh, big time. Mm-hmm. And then, again, going back to the fact that he's a priest, not to think that, you know, redemption or like second chances,
right.
You know, I feel like he should know better than to call somebody like that a coward,
right.
And then just condemn him to death.
Yeah, basically. And especially when we were first watching it, and I didn't remember at the time who he was, but then when it came back to me when I realized who he was, I kind of see the point. Yeah. But I still feel as though there was enough time to get him out of there. Like, I feel like there was enough time for them to at least try to get the door open, even if they told Gage, yeah, just try and take out as many walkers as you can while we work on getting the door open. That could have been an option instead of just saying, nope, screw it, let him die.
Well, that's, like when Gage calls Maggie a liar, were we saying that, you know, we think that's because she's like, no, we don't have enough time.
Right.
Do you think he's like, you're a liar, you're just letting me die because you want, you know, you're killing me out of spite? Yeah.
And I mean, we find out he did take the ammo bags, and I think the guy's name was Roy. He and Gage ended up running off with the supplies, the ammo bags, and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I could see the group being pissed off, but to be that pissed off to let a kid like that die, that's pretty messed up. And I know Alden tries to go up to the door and pry it open, and Maggie and a few others, I think even Gage, grabs Alden and tells him, no, like, we're done, we're not going to do this. So they're basically just going to sit there and freaking watch this kid die. So then I heard the one scene, Negan was kind of leaning up against the door, or leaning up against the wall next to the door, it seemed, and he seemed disappointed. Like, he genuinely seemed disappointed in Maggie's decision that they could have tried to save the kid, but they opted not to. And I still feel as though there was enough time. Yeah, time was a ticking, but if they could have told Gage to turn around, take care of as many walkers as he could while they worked on the door and got him in, and then close the door somehow again or propped it closed, they could have saved the kid. Instead, he had to waste his time and plead with them to try and get the door open. Yeah.
And like, Negan looks at Maggie as if to say, you're obviously the one calling the shots. This blood is on your hands.
Basically.
Or I also thought he's looking at her like, you're not going to let me help him? Like, really? This is what you're gonna do? This is how you're gonna play this out? You're not gonna let us help him?
Yep.
It was, even Negan was like, damn.
That's cold.
Yeah.
And then, the kid, like Jeremy already said, he says, liar, and then he stabs himself in the freaking heart. Twice. Damn. That was a brutal spot, and it seems like he looks right at Maggie while he was stabbing himself, and while he was being taken down by the walkers. Yeah. And Alden seemed pretty upset.
Yeah. He looked at Maggie as if to say, I'm not very happy with your decision.
Yeah. I am disappointed.
I'm a little disappointed.
One of the things I was thinking about, though, with Gage being stuck in that train car, maybe it's not every train car, maybe it's every other train car, whatever. Maggie came up through the floor, through a door. could there have possibly been a door?
A hole in the floor?
Yeah.
Yeah, there should have been. I mean, I would think there would be.
Yeah, and of course, if he went in that, he would be going into the outside, and there's already a crazy amount of walkers out there. So maybe it wouldn't be that great of an idea. But it's worth a shot, I think, you know? But again, maybe it's not all the train cars that have that and stuff. And I think there was something that you wanted to say about that scene, right? Well, I think what you wanted to say that you're forgetting about right now is how much this scene with Gage being eaten by the walkers reminded us of a couple episodes ago.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if you wanted to say that.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Yeah, just how...
It definitely reminded us of earlier on when we meet a kid named Noah, and we get to know him a little bit.
And you get to care about him.
Yeah, we got to care about him. And then one of the most horrific scenes...
Yes.
It wasn't necessary.
No.
It was like... Was that necessary?
Yeah, how brutal they made it.
Awful.
And even Glenn, he was like, "Oh God, this is so horrible to watch." Like you could tell he didn't want to watch, but he kept watching.
Yeah.
And
there's a scene where Noah finally gets eaten by walkers, and it's definitely one of the most graphic kills on The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
And they
in our opinion.
Yeah, they like rip his face open, just.
And all because of that dickhead Nick. I cannot stand that kid. He was Nick the Dick. He was. He rubbed me he was Toby. You are the worst. No, I don't know. He just rubbed me the wrong way from the start when we first met him, and then
he's probably a super nice guy.
Oh, the actor?
Yeah,
he's probably super sweet.
A super nice guy, and like not to comment on his physical appearance, but he looks like a rat. He just looks like
he does, like a snitch, or just like all about himself.
Like,
Yeah, you can't trust him, and Glenn didn't like him either, because again, we'll go back to these episodes.
Yeah, I don't want to get too much off topic.
Yeah, but just that scene so much reminded us of this whole Gage situation, that you could see him being eaten from like
behind the glass.
Yeah,
you're in a place of safety, watching somebody you care about.
Yeah.
At least to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Getting eaten by just dying. You're just watching them. You're safe.
Yeah.
But you're there watching somebody in real time.
Yeah.
Getting eaten.
Yeah.
Is
horrifying.
Horrifying, yeah.
But again, there is a difference between Noah and this Gage kid, because Noah was an all-around sweetheart. I don't remember him ever doing anything bad. I don't remember.
He had a couple of moments where we were like, oh man, he's a little bit of a jerk.
I think, I don't know.
He was stealing equipment from our group.
Was he?
Yeah.
Well, I know. I think we met him at the hospital when Beth was at that hospital.
Yeah, he was trying to help Beth.
Yeah, but from what I remember, though, like, he didn't... Well, I don't know. That takes back on what I was going to say then, which was, I don't remember him stealing anything, but I don't know. We'll have to rewatch. When we rewatch...
we'll get back to it.
Yeah, we'll remember it, but either way, we're not talking about Noah anymore. Let's go back to season 11. So, that scene reminded us of that, and I think that's all I wanted to say about that scene, because I mentioned about the door possibly being in the floor. And then the next thing we go over, we're back to Eugene. Mm-hmm. So we're back over to Eugene, and to me, it kind of seems like they're separating them. And I feel like they're getting in Eugene's head a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Because Eugene asks one of the guards, like, no, my friend Yumiko's in there. And he's like, dude, no one's in there. And no, my friend's in that room. I saw them go in. No one's in there.
Yeah.
And then...
Again, they're not, like, torturing per se, but they're, like, definitely psychologically stressing them out.
Yeah.
They're trying to get them to break.
Well, then Eugene is like, well, what about my friend? She just went to the restroom. And I mean, he didn't say it exactly the way I'm saying it, but this is the gist of it. But he's asking about where his friend was that went to the restroom. And the guard's like, what friend? And it's almost like they're acting like these people didn't exist. Mm-hmm. So it's like, then does Eugene start questioning anything? Like, if he genuinely is as stressed as he appears to be, and it's not just an act, is he going to think, crap, am I hallucinating? Do these people not really exist?
Yeah.
And then after that scene, we're back over to Maggie and Negan's group, and Gage is reanimated. And, yeah. And I guess Maggie... I think Alden was saying what a horrific way to die, and then Maggie kind of says, well, there's worse ways to go. Mm-hmm. I don't know if she's referencing Glenn's death, because Negan just so happens to be there, or if she's referencing the story that she's about to talk about.
Definitely the story that she's talking about, I think, at least. Only because, I mean, don't get me wrong, the way that Glenn died was awful, but it was relatively quick. Relatively quick. I mean, how much did you feel after getting smacked in the head with a bat?
Oh,
I'm hoping that he was like pretty delirious at that point.
No, I'll find you. He freaking said I'll find you. That's horrible. He was with it enough to know.
I'm going to say it was painless.
Let's go with that because I don't want to cry. Glenn. Yes.
But anyway, yeah, definitely the story Maggie tells is obviously way too graphic to show.
Oh, dude, ugh, gross.
But yeah, it definitely shows why Maggie's so hard and cold now. I mean, like, anybody, after seeing what she describes...
Oh, dude, it sounds horrible.
...would definitely be hardened after something like that. I mean, you would have to be like, yeah, this world is lost.
Yeah. How do you come back from that? And how... God, just to think that there's people like that out in the world. Yeah. I mean, there's probably people like that in our current world.
Do we want to recap the story? Or do you have a recap of the story on there?
I don't really have a recap, but for those of you that watched the episode, you pretty much remember that her and Herschel, so Maggie and Herschel were on their own for a while. They were starving. They hadn't had food in quite a while. And then they found an old man that said, I think he said, like, he just needs some help with some things. So, like,
he could with clothes for his daughter to bring back.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'll give you some food.
Yeah, so they were desperate at that point. And
then Maggie knew from the start that he was lying.
These people, our people have been through some shit. They know their gut is usually pretty right a lot of the time. So she was going with her gut, which was a good thing because I think she said she used the chloroform rag on him that he was probably going to use on her. And they sound like they were cannibals, basically.
Cannibal / rapist.
Yeah.
It sounds like they were like holding people.
It sounded like women.
They were mutilating women.
Yeah.
And using them as sex slaves.
Yeah.
And then letting them get pregnant.
Yeah. And then what?
As walkers. It was a really dark story.
Yeah. I don't like stories of rape. That just
now, I've never seen the movie, but it reminded me of when you tell me about the story of The Hills Have Eyes.
Oh, I never watched. When I saw the opening scene for that and those like disgusting people tried to rape that girl, instantly I turned it off. I instantly get nauseated when anything like that happens. So that's what it reminded me of.
And obviously, I mean, like, I'm almost a little bit surprised that they even had that story in this.
Me too.
That's a lot darker than anything that they've actually had on the show.
Although they didn't flat out say the word rape.
No, so they heavily insinuated though.
Yeah, it's more so insinuated in it. But it was pretty messed up, and she basically told Alden that, like, you know, when I told you that story, I don't feel anything when I tell you about that. And she basically was saying when she walked in and she saw those girls like that, she lost part of herself. Like, she lost part of her humanity, and that one of the first things that she thought about after she put them out of their misery was, okay, if they were alive this long, there has to be food. So that's pretty messed up that she didn't even think. Like, I'm getting chills thinking about it, but it's pretty messed up that she didn't think about the terror these girls went through.
Yeah. And I know you guys can't see it, but she has goosebumps.
I do. It's just messed up to think that you're living in that kind of world where you don't even think about that kind of crap anymore, and you just think, oh,
you're in survival mode.
Yeah. Well, and I think especially too, she's especially in survival mode because she just locked her son downstairs or whatever room because he's starving too.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's definitely in survival mode, and at least she put those girls out of their misery, even though it sounds like one of them had turned already.
Yeah.
So I want to continue with that scene, but I want to jump back a couple beats before Maggie talks about that story and just how they show Gage on the other side of the door, and you could see that he's reanimated. And Alden kind of makes it a point to be like, so no one's just going to look at him? Like, no one wants to look, because you could see
they were ashamed.
Yeah, you could see that they definitely looked over at the door, but they don't want to keep looking at it.
I'm sure they felt guilty about it.
Probably. And then even Gabe basically said something like, why? He died a coward. And then I love that Alden was like, oh, that's a hot take, father. And he kind of said father in a mocking kind of tone.
Yeah.
Because really, if you're a priest, you should, like you said earlier, have some sort of
compassion, the idea of second chances.
Exactly. And forgiveness.
Yeah.
And then you redemption. Just let a kid die. And especially, he's a kid. How freaking old is he? 17, 18 years old? He's a kid. He doesn't know that kind of stuff that... I mean, he should know what he did was wrong by taking the ammo bag. But
he was scared. I mean, he's probably still not... Even though he grew up in this world, it doesn't seem like he's super hardened yet in the field.
Right.
Maybe he was behind the closed walls most of the time, so maybe he's not hardened enough.
Yeah. And then at one point, Gabe looked over at Negan. He's like, what is it? And then Negan just says bad memories and then sits down. And then Gabe is like, about what?
He doesn't answer.
He doesn't, but Negan almost looks like sick to his stomach, like he could puke, and he like rubs his face like very stressed out, and he just looks sick. Yeah. Like, what do you think he's thinking about?
I was thinking either when he was with the Whispers, walking around with the Whispers, because he's surrounded by walkers again, and then I think you might have mentioned, maybe being back in the prison cell. I mean, he's back in a closed space, confined, maybe the prison cell.
Yeah, it's possible.
What do you think?
Kind of the same thing. I think, he might be thinking about the Whisperers and hearing the groans and moans from the walkers on the outside, because you could see them hitting the glass, the windows and stuff. So maybe, he's thinking about his time with Whisperers. Yeah.
What if he's thinking about Maggie being, the quote-unquote tyrannical leader right now? What if he's looking back at his rule reign now? Yeah, his reign. Oh, shit. And he's calling them bad memories now. Maybe he's looking back at his past and thinking, yeah, those are bad memories now. Because he also just witnessed Maggie making that call and killing that essentially innocent kid. Yeah, maybe he's looking at her like, is that how I was? Was that me?
It's possible. Then? Yeah, he could be looking at that like, oh shit, how many? Yeah, like how many innocent people did I put to death? And geez, like how many? That would be crazy to see if someone kept count. Yeah. Now going back to Maggie's messed up story that you talked about, Maggie seemed surprised that at the end of her story that Negan spoke up and he seemed to get it.
Oh yeah.
Like that we're lucky and everything. Yeah. Like he seemed to get it. I think she was a little shocked about that one.
Yeah, I think throughout this episode she starts to see, I think they both start to see how alike they both are. Or at least were at certain points. Yeah. Like they might be at different points in their story now, but they've both been where each other is at one point. I know that was a really confusing way of saying it.
I know what you mean, though.
Yeah, but I think Maggie's at where Negan was when we first meet him. Yeah. And Negan's further along, but he sees her as he was.
Right. I think I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Replay that.
Yeah.
We're going to rewind that. Replay it. I think I said that right.
I think our listeners probably understand it too. Yeah. Yeah. And freaking Dog, man. I love Dog. Yeah. But Jesus, he needs to be like trained a little bit more or just listen, because he's sending Daryl down that freaking gnarly ass tunnel.
Yeah, there's no like Dog, and Dog doesn't come back. No. What the hell? I mean, at least he doesn't even look back. No. Dog he just takes off.
Yeah, he is just doing his own thing. Yeah. And then Daryl keeps going after Dog, which I don't blame him. I don't blame Daryl. Oh, yeah. I would do the same thing. But I'd be like, dude, freaking listen. God.
So, do you have in your notes about Daryl having a flail?
Yeah, I do. That was badass.
Where the hell did that come from?
I have no freaking clue.
He just, whips out a friggin' flail out of nowhere.
Yeah, was that in his backpack? Because, dang, that had to be weighing it down a bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, good aim, though. Pretty good weapon, though. I think I never thought of using a medieval flail as a weapon for the walkers.
Yeah. I feel like it would be good. It would be better than what I remember Jerry's huge battle axe thing. Like, I feel like that was huge. And the amount of time that it would take to get it back to get ready to hit the next walker is just killing some time.
Yeah, you can choke up on it. You can choke up on it and use it, more of as a stabbing weapon. Yeah. The flail, they all have different attributes to them. Like the big axe obviously have a lot of leverage and length with it. But I think the flail is a little bit more compact. It's still a blunt object that you're hitting them in the head with. Also, a nice thing about the flail is it'll wrap around things. So it's also really good against people if they have a shield. So
I see.
Yeah, so it goes over and around a shield.
Nice.
And hits them from behind.
Be good. Yeah.
So that has its attributes. I don't know how often you're going to use that, but I don't know. Daryl made it look good.
And I think anything really you have to use as a weapon in the apocalypse too. But yeah, I think that would be a good one because I like that. It can kind of go around corners a little bit. Yeah. I like that. But then, Daryl saves Dog again, and then we hear, Daryl, help me, and it was the guy all bloody. I'm pretty sure his name's Roy.
Roy, yeah.
Yeah, and he asked him, he's like, what'd you go topside? And it was a bad idea, and then he lost Gage, and then
and the ammo, right?
Yeah, Daryl's like, well, where's the ammo? He's like, I lost the ammo bag too. It's like, shit. And then I was like, when we first watched it, I was like, well, what did he get injured from? Were they like walkers? Was it the storm that was happening? And then fast forward to the end.
Storm.
I don't know. I don't know if it was the storm and maybe like...
It did seem like he was running though, right?
It did seem like he was running, so I don't know if maybe walkers got him.
I think maybe he got hurt from the storm.
Maybe.
Tried to come back in. And then maybe he got pinned down by some walkers.
It's possible. But, I mean, he's lucky he didn't get a bite. Yeah. It just seemed like he was bleeding from the facial area.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Jumping ahead a little bit in the story, they don't put him down. Like, they don't...
No.
They don't kill him. They obviously seem like, all right, well, we can save him. Mm-hmm. They try to help him.
Yeah.
So... It doesn't seem like he got bit.
No, it didn't. So he just had, I guess, some sort of just wound. And Daryl tries to patch him up, and Roy's basically like, just don't waste that on me. Just tell my kids I didn't die a coward. And he hands Daryl the hand grenade and a gun. Yeah. And isn't it interesting how Roy's like, tell my kids I didn't die a coward.
Yeah.
And then go over to where Gage is in the train car, and they're calling him a coward. Mm-hmm. So it's like,
yeah,
what the hell? Like, what's up with the coward thing? I mean... I don't know if I would consider them to be cowards running away. If I were in the group, and I would be pretty pissed if our people ran away.
Yeah. You could look at it two ways. Yeah, you could look at it as them being a coward, or you could look at them as being... Okay, they're probably thinking, Maggie is off the deep end. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to follow this. I'm not going to be... a quote unquote cheap, or I'm not going to just follow blindly.
Right.
I think there's a better course of action.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, so they kind of wanted to go
Or at least that's probably what they tell themselves. But they were cowards.
What are they now?
Yes, so I think the next scene is them fighting off. They open up the gate, right? In the train car?
Yeah, they're still trying to pry open the door, and they're starting to get... like more walkers are coming in from behind them, I think, too. Then they get to the one door where they finally prop open the one door, and then there's another door right there, and you can see through the window that there's a chair of some sort that's blocking it. So there's just no way they can get that open from that side. Yeah, they're banging on the door, trying to open it, and then they're setting up the flares. And I don't know, the cinematography in this scene was just really badass, too. And then the door opens. They start realizing that the door that Gage is behind, it's starting to come down a little bit. So they're kind of getting prepared, and they're getting amped up and ready for that battle. Yeah. And they took Gage out first.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. They took Gage out first.
This scene also reminds me of the Battle of Thermopylae, which that's from 300.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's been so long since I've watched
obviously, that. It's a real story.
Yeah.
But, well, most popularly, it's from 300. That's but the bottleneck idea, where a small group can take a large group if they can send them through a bottleneck, essentially.
Okay.
So, the train door is the bottleneck. Mm-hmm. The walkers are going to come through in a small number.
That makes sense.
And then our group can take them out.
Yeah, that makes sense. More manageable, basically. Yeah. But then it leads you to think, could they have saved Gage?
Right. They could, exactly. I know they could have opened, I feel like they could have got the door open in time, let him in, and then they would have been able to
close the door somehow.
Close the door.
Yeah. Yeah, so then they took Gage out first, and then they started shooting the other walkers that are coming in after Gage with him. And Daryl hears the gunshots, so then he runs towards the gunshots.
Real quick, I just thought it was funny that Gabriel was looking down the barrel of the shotgun with his bad eye.
Yeah, you made that comment when we watched it.
What?
Yeah.
Again, you don't have to aim too much with a shotgun. Mm-hmm. I mean, you pretty much just point and shoot.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously there is some aiming, but
yeah.
You looking down the barrel with his bad eye, dead eye. Yeah.
And then that goes to like Negan being a smartass, but going back to the first episode with, did God send you that message with the one eyeball direct your eye to the line? Oh man, yeah. So then, Daryl hears the gunshots. He comes running over to help, and they're getting the walkers from kind of both sides essentially now.
Yeah,
and that's when Maggie seems to put her differences with Negan aside, and she gives Negan a gun.
Yeah, and he looks a little like, I don't want to say thank you, but it was just like a good little look between the two of them. Yeah. Like, I think Negan said, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, like an understanding of sorts.
You can trust me, boss.
So then Negan runs down, and he has some really good aim. And I was thinking, I'm like, he has really good aim, but he also has a small window there that he's like, the door is barely propped open, and he's shooting through. So, I mean, how much aim do you really need, I guess, for that? But he did take a couple out, and it seemed like the one, it could have just been the way that they filmed it and the way I saw it. I don't know. It seemed like the one shot, he may have taken out 2 walkers at once.
Oh, maybe.
It may have gone through the one walker and then went through that skull and went to the next.
Their skulls are made out of butter at this point.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Well, it seems that way when somebody just dies too. They put a freaking knife through that skull so quick and easy. I don't know how accurate that is.
I'm sorry, I have to put you down, and then they just like slowly stab them in the head. Like, really? Are our skulls that soft?
I don't know. I've never tried doing that to anybody.
I know. It really makes me want to wear a helmet wherever I go.
Family Guy. I understand that's the helmet, but why the movies?
Forgot about that.
Oh, man. So Daryl's in the train car now, and he's getting ready to rumble.
This scene.
Oh, dude. So he puts his crossbow.
This scene.
Yes, he puts his crossbow down. He puts his backpack down. He gets his handgun ready, and he starts walking.
He lightens himself up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes it more, like,
agile.
maneuverable. Yeah. And, dude. Okay, at first when I saw this, I was blown away. I had such a raging nerd boner. And even rewatching it, it was amazing. I love the scene. The scene, he's walking in from the right, they're panning the camera to the left, and then the music that they chose was epic too.
The show is always, an action-packed... It's always an action-packed show. Sorry, everybody. It's always an action-packed show.
Yeah.
But this felt like an action movie sequence.
It did.
Like, this felt more cinematic. And do you mind if I just say, like, he's the apocalyptic John Wick?
Yeah, we made that comment.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It definitely felt like a scene from John Wick where he's just plowing through.
Yeah.
With a freaking pencil. No, he didn't have a pencil. But with the gun, just such close combat, and he's shooting everybody in the head.
Yeah.
Rapid fire.
Yeah.
It was super action-packed. That's what you want.
Yes. Yeah.
That was definitely what you want in an action sequence.
Yeah, definitely. And just it's Daryl too, so it makes it even more badass because you already love Daryl, and then when you see him handling it in such like an epic way. So when we first watched it though, I was nervous because I didn't quite understand what direction he was coming from.
Oh,
I thought he was like where like Negan and Maggie and the group of them were pointing their guns towards. I thought Negan was coming, or I'm not sorry, I thought Daryl was coming that direction. I was like, oh snap.
You thought he was going to get friendly fire?
Yeah, I thought he was going to get hit by some rogue bullets and stuff.
That would have been awful.
Yeah, because he just hears the gunfire. I'm sure he can tell where it's coming from, but he might just say screw it and try and help his people anyway. But I had gotten nervous when I first watched that, and then I realized, oh, he's coming from behind, so he should be good. Like, he shouldn't be getting hit. And then the way that they had it filmed too, I saw it looks as though Negan kind of got a glance through one of the doors and saw Daryl coming. And then, because I guess at one point Daryl must have run out of bullets, because then he went over to just using his knife and was stabbing the walkers. I wonder if Negan, and I know in the heat of the moment, he's probably just thinking about that very second of everything that's happening and survival and stuff. But I wonder if he ever thinks back to how he treated Daryl. And like, shit, what if I killed Daryl?
Yeah.
He wouldn't be here to save my ass now.
He knew, though. He knew that Daryl was such a badass.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
why
he was an asset.
He refused to kill him. Mm-hmm. He always just he wanted to break him down and get him on his side.
Easy street.
Oh god.
Yeah.
But yeah, Daryl was a total berserk there. Like, emptied out his clip, killed I think as many walkers as he had bullets.
Probably, yeah.
And then just finishing off the rest with the knives. Mm-hmm. And then he got through, and then he chucked a freaking grenade.
Well, he gets in. Yeah, he moves that chair that was blocking the way for the other people, and then he moves that and opens the door all the way. Everybody comes running in, and then he closes it and says, "Get behind something." And, well, he doesn't close it yet. He tells everybody to get behind something, and then that walker comes, and the hand grenade that Roy gave to him just a little bit ago, he shoved it in his mouth, and I did get nervous because I'm like, "Oh, dude, watch your fingers, because like, are you gonna get bit and then you're gonna turn?" So, geez. So he shoves it in the walker's mouth and then kicks him back. That was pretty badass too. Then he closes it, and then he gets down behind something too, and then it goes off. And again, when I first watched that, I was like, did the guts just go everywhere on everybody?
Yeah.
But I didn't realize
They
it
were
was in
behind
the
a shield, yeah.
I didn't realize it was in the other train car. That makes more sense, but I didn't pick up on that the first time around. Now we're over at our boy Eugene.
Making a shiv.
Making a shiv. That's what it looks like anyway.
Yeah. What was he gonna do? Like, he's not the strongest. I mean, he's resourceful.
Yeah.
We'll give it to him. He is resourceful.
Yeah, but I mean, they're wearing armor.
Yeah, you'd have to, like, stab him in a soft spot.
Yeah.
And then, like, they always seem to be in groups. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know.
But I understand where he's coming from, too.
Trying to be prepared.
Yeah, exactly. Just be prepared. But I wonder what would have happened if they searched him and they found that.
Yeah.
Could he have gotten the crap eaten out of him?
I would imagine.
Yeah. So it was a pretty interesting scene. He's back in and he's getting interrogated again, it seems. And I did notice that, I wonder if it was a huge scare tactic when the guy taking the notes, from what I remember, he took the notes, he got his pen out, and he laid out this like cloth thing that, just an organizer for like his pens and all that stuff.
Oh, it's like torture.
Yeah, it looks like there's like a scalpel and all those types of things, scalpel, scissors, and it's almost like, what are you going to use those for?
Which real quick, I mean, it's just me. He looks like Charlie Day.
He does. For any of you that watch It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Yeah, he looks just like Charlie Day.
Yeah, he does.
Oh, that was a horrible Charlie Day impression. I usually do a better Charlie Day impression.
Jeremy does. He likes to do impressions a lot, so you might hear us periodically.
I eat stickers all the time, dude.
So Mercer seems to be kind of, I don't want to say losing his shit, because he seems to keep his cool pretty well, but he might be getting
impatient.
Yeah, he's getting impatient with Eugene. He's basically calling him out, saying he's lied this entire time. He's got to stop with that crap, and just
calls him a terrible liar or whatever.
Yeah.
Which, if he only knew.
Yeah, I know. But damn, Eugene, he seems so freaking nervous. Mercer is super intimidating, though. Like, if I were sitting across from him, I would be freaking nervous as all hell. Yeah. And it's like Eugene is sweating and everything, and so Mercer has the guy taking the notes give Eugene a tissue. He's like, mop up. And then you can't lie for shit. And then Eugene's like, I'm not gonna lie. And so he kind of goes on again, and the Mercer asks him, like, where's your settlement? And why were you at the train station? If you lie, I'll know about it. And...
Right.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, real quick. Yeah, I just... Not to make another reference of who the people look like, but I noticed that Mercer reminds me a lot of Rhett McLaughlin. Yeah. If anybody's ever watched
Good Mythical Morning from YouTube.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Rhett.
He does. I can see
but
that.
More intense.
Oh God, way more intense.
Way more intense.
Yeah, yeah. So then Eugene starts going on, and it's interesting because is Eugene lying throughout this entire thing? Is he putting on a front? Because we've seen it in the past with the saviors and all that.
I don't know if he's lying about being a virgin.
I mean, maybe not. There's nothing wrong with that either way.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't know how much of this he's fibbing about. I mean, obviously we know he's lying about some of the things because he knows where the settlement is, but he's not saying where it is. But as he goes on with the story, you almost see Mercer softening a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You could start seeing, like, oh, damn, this dude's a little pathetic. Like, I feel a little bad for him.
Yeah. It's kind of like, okay, it's all right.
Yeah, yeah. And then I love that Eugene says that he's a virgin and that he's observed quite a few times. And he's like, thank you for holding back your tears.
Your Snickers.
I think he says tears. I think he says tears.
No.
Wasn't tears? It was...
Titters.
Titters? What is
like
turning
laughs.
to Tigger? Oh, I mean, it's possible. Eugene
thanks for holding back on your laughs, basically.
Okay, so
about
maybe
his being a virgin.
See, I heard tears.
Titters. I'm pretty sure it was titters.
And Eugene has a weird vocabulary, so it very possibly could be titters.
So yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Not to cut you off, but we want to just say we love Josh McDermott
so freaking much.
He seems like the nicest guy. And his act, we love him.
Yeah.
We hated Eugene in the beginning.
Yeah. I mean,
but Josh McDermott.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit in the first podcast.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but we had talked about our love for Josh McDermott in the first podcast. But, man, I love him so much. He does a great job as Eugene, though.
Yeah.
Eugene is annoying as all hell, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he always comes through.
He does.
I always bet on Eugene.
Yeah. So, yeah, they talk about the virgin part, and they kind of look up a little shocked, and... It seems like they soften a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I think they kind of transition over to Eugene with a bag on his head, and he's in the carriage, and he's taking him to the train car, and he's crying and stuff. And they're reunited!
Yeah, that was a good reunion, too.
It was.
Everybody was okay. Mm-hmm. They're smiling. They're like, oh, it's good to see you, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. He asks, like, where everyone was and stuff, and he asked where Ezekiel was, and he said, I was up in, like, medical and stuff, and they gave me cough syrup, and I'm feeling a lot better now. So, like, did they check his goiter?
Yeah. I wonder if it was, I'm just realizing this now. Now, I don't know what Princess did. Did they all get accepted one by one?
Yeah, I don't know that either.
Because Ezekiel stood up to Mercer and started talking, more truthfully to Mercer right off the bat. And then I think he was the first one to disappear.
He was, yeah.
He was the first one. He was the first one to disappear. I wonder if he got accepted. I mean,
well, he was in the hospital.
He got moved.
Yeah, he was with the hospital.
That's true, but they moved him, and then Yumiko.
I wonder if they brought him to the hospital because he had that coughing fit.
Maybe, but Yumiko went next because she kind of stood up too. She did. Yeah, she got up and stood her ground.
Yep.
And then we don't know what Princess did.
No.
But she kind of she disappeared too.
She went to the bathroom, and then that's the last we saw of her.
Yeah, that was last. And then Eugene was the last one, probably because he was so timid. They probably felt that he was still holding back.
Yeah.
I wonder if they felt that he was still holding back. That's why he was the last one. And then when he opened up, he was kind of the linchpin. He was the one that they're like, all right, all their stories check out. We're going to accept them into the fray.
Yeah. And then they learned that they were accepted to the Commonwealth. And I love when Mercer goes over to Ezekiel and he's like, I went to West Point, asshole.
Yeah.
I really like Mercer. I hope we're going to continue to like him as we learn more about him.
Yeah. I feel like he's going to go against the rest of our group at one point. And we're gonna not like him so much. I hope not. Because I do like him.
Yeah, he seems cool so far. Definitely super intimidating. But hopefully we'll continue to like him. Because again, like we have already said quite a few times, Jeremy and I have not read the comics besides like skimming through them. So we don't know how he is in the comics. I've heard that he hooks up with Princess. So I feel like Princess wouldn't do anything with him or want to be friends with them if he was kind of screwing over our people.
Yeah.
And then at one point during this scene, the train door opens again and a girl walks in and she's like, which one's Eugene? And he raises his hand and oh my God, it's Stephanie.
Finally.
Yeah.
I finally get to meet her. She's pretty.
She's cute. Yeah, she's super cute. I can see them being together. She looks a little nerdy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I as excited as I was, sorry if I just got like, blah, blah, blah. As excited as I was when she first walked in, I was like, yay, oh my gosh. And then I was like, oh wait, no, crap. Could this be a setup? Like, could this whole thing be a setup? Because, like, she set the location.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think we know now. I think we know now that she does work for the Commonwealth.
Yeah, she definitely does work for the Commonwealth.
But, again, with Eugene's story, which was great, he explains that I told Stephanie that I came from a larger group because I was afraid that she wasn't who she said she was, etc.
Yeah, that's true. So he's still kind of keeping
he covered all the bases, I think, with his speech, which was great. So now they are accepting, and they're like, yeah, you get to meet her now. Go ahead. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that's
and maybe
true.
maybe she did genuinely have some feelings. I'm saying that she does have some feelings for him.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Because it would be nice to see Eugene with someone and happy.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
So after that reunited scene, we're back to our people down in the subway area, the train area, and they're coming above ground now, and you can see that the storm is over, and it's nice and clear, and you can hear the crickets because it's nighttime and everything, and then some of them, like Daryl, starts to sit down, and he looks very deep in thought. Like, what do you think he's thinking about? Because it looks like he's holding that $100 bill with the kid's note on it.
Yeah. Well, it's been a long day.
Yeah.
They went through a lot of crap. I mean, yeah, it was just going through the ringer there.
Yeah.
But yeah, he seemed pretty emotionally drained after seeing what the world went through. Yeah. I wonder if it was just a reminder of everything they lost.
Maybe.
like, oh yeah, the world wasn't like this before.
Yeah.
It was kind of like another reminder of like where everything was before, the fall.
And I'm curious too, because Maggie at one point in this scene, she asks Daryl if he saw anything down there, and he basically just said, nah, basically the same stuff that you saw. Why not mention all the murals that he saw? Why not mention the guy sitting there on the ground with the huge the briefcase with $100 bills? Like, I don't know why he didn't mention that.
Maybe it was just irrelevant,
I guess.
Didn't really matter.
I guess.
Like, yeah, we knew the world went to crap.
Yeah.
We knew all this pretty much.
I do want to say, like, I may have said it earlier in the podcast, I think I did, about Daryl seeing that picture with the two kids on it and then the bunny rabbit and the stuffed animal, and that happened to be the same one that Maggie picked up. I think I did mention that in the beginning of the episode, though. Now, what are your thoughts on the exchange between when Negan gives Maggie the gun back?
Yeah, well, he holds onto the gun.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just like he doesn't just give her the gun. I think if he just gave her the gun, she'd probably take it back and put it in her bag or whatever and not think anything of it. He holds onto it just long enough for them to exchange a look. Mm-hmm. And I think he gives her a look kind of like, are we good for now?
Yeah.
And then I like that a little bit later... Yeah, just like a little tiny bit later, she asks if he knows where the radio tower is.
Yeah.
As if to say, we're cool for now.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of a truce, and then she kind of confirms, yeah, truce.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I liked that when he handed her the gun, they held it together for a couple of seconds and then definitely made some eye contact for a little bit, and that eye contact definitely said a lot, too.
Yeah, things cooled down a little bit. There was a little bit more understanding between the two of them.
A little bit more forgiveness, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there was a little bit of forgiveness going on there with the exchange of that, and then like Jeremy had already mentioned, with Maggie mentioning the supplies, that we'll rest up and then we'll venture out that way, and she asks Negan if he knows where that is, and kind of in an inclusive way, too. Like, she says it in not like, oh, so do you know where that is? But she says it like... Hey, Negan, do you know where this is? Kind of like including him in the conversation and making him feel more included.
Yeah, it was definitely, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, yeah, inclusive. Mm-hmm. She asked it not in a demanding way.
Right.
She asked it in a way to sort of signify, all right, you're part of the team right now.
Yeah, help the group.
I'm accepting you as part of the team. Mm-hmm. Do you know where this is? Honestly,
Yeah, and then he says, "Yeah, come on," and then she nods and she gets up to follow him.
It was. I like that exchange. Yeah, it was subtle, but I think it's subtle. Other people would probably look at it and be like, "Dude, that was like a brick to the head."
No, I think it was little bits and pieces here and there too. It wasn't super duper obvious, but it was. I mean, if you paid attention to their exchange and if you could pick up on people's mannerisms and whatnot, I feel there was a big significance in him saying, yeah, come on. And then he leads the way, she nods, and she follows him. Mm-hmm. So normally she wouldn't do that pre this whole everything that had just happened. But I feel like he kind of proved himself to her a little bit. And he's been proving himself all these years to these people, but she's been gone for so long. So she still sees Negan as the guy that killed her husband, and that guy that was forcing everyone to scavenge for food and scavenge for supplies and barely keep any for themselves, but give him everything and give his people, his saviors, everything. Yeah. So she's still seeing him like that. She doesn't see him as how he's been beneficial and how he's helped the Whisperers. Yeah. Or I'm sorry, helped our people with the Whisperers and taken down Alpha and stuff. So I think he kind of made up for some stuff.
Yeah, I think she might be replaying everything that's happened, and maybe she's like looking back and seeing that, yeah, she was running a little hot. She was going outside her means. Yeah. And I wonder, even though I'm sure she's still pissed at Negan letting her go, just letting her fall to the walkers. Yeah. But I wonder if she kind of looks at that now as more of like a quote unquote check. Like, you
checkmate type of deal?
No. Like, you got to check your spot. Like, you pump the brakes a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, Negan was, like, probably banking on her dying. But it was more of a, look, you got to check your role. Mm-hmm. You got to back up. I'm trying to help. Yeah. but you are really running with this a little bit too aggressively.
Yeah, I agree.
And maybe she sees that now.
Maybe. So then after that, they start walking, and you see the people hanging on the sides of the streets.
Yeah.
And Negan said something like, wow, this place really went to shit since the last time I was here. And Jeremy and I mentioned this video game in our previous podcast, but the video game The Last of Us.
Yeah.
This really reminded me of The Last of Us.
Yeah. Especially the second one?
I think, the second one definitely.
Yeah, there were a lot of bodies hanging in that one.
Yeah, and it was funny because when they started seeing our people walk down the road and stuff, I was like, "Oh, Roy made it," and then I was like, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah, I know they went through all that trouble saving him. I'm like, okay, Roy's good, and then he gets shot in his one good eye. Yeah. His last good eye.
Well, was it even his good eye, or did he? I think he got
shot in the head. I don't know.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, he got taken out though. I was like, oh dang.
And so we see a bunch of Reapers walking towards him. Yeah. It reminds me of, even though I've never seen the movie, it's from the 70s, I think, The Warriors.
Oh yeah, we did make that reference, and I think Chris Hardwick talked about that too.
It was weird.
Yeah,
like it's weird. They make a lot of references. I'm like, man, it looked just like a scene from The Warriors with all of them walking down the street.
Yeah,
and then I think Chris Hardwick does mention that.
I think he does. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he does.
Yeah. So, man, these Reapers, they seem crazy, and I'm hoping that we'll find out in the next episode what they're about and what's happening and stuff. Frickin' A. Tell me that our people, they don't have crazy PTSD.
Oh, I know.
You know, it's like no matter what they do, they just get over a huge dramatic thing, a huge emotionally and physically draining thing, and then it's the next one. Mm-hmm. Like, dear Lord, these people never get a chance to just chill.
And for any group to just, like, automatically, I mean, I understand being cautious, but for the Reapers to just go out and kill our group like that, not knowing anything about them, like, you gotta question, like, they could be an ally. They could be an asset to you. They could know something. Why go in guns blazing just to kill them all?
Yeah, and our people walking through, they didn't mean anything. They didn't mean anything by it. They're not going in to try and steal your stuff. No. They're going through to get somewhere else. Like, they just happen to be on this road that you've already claimed, apparently. That they've already claimed. Our people didn't know that.
Right.
So now you're just going to go and just start killing them and stuff. And yeah, so Roy gets an arrow to the head. And then I don't know his name, but then one of the other guys, he gets like a huge throwing knife thing in his thigh.
Yeah, it looks scythe. It's like a fighting scythe. I'm not sure.
Is that what that is? Because it almost looked like one of those things that rock climbers use.
Yeah, a pick.
Something like that.
A pick.
Yeah, but he gets that thrown in his thigh, and his arms must have been down like at his side, because then it looks like he. Yeah, it looks like he grabbed his hand, too. Like, with his good hand, he grabbed his other hand, so he must have gotten some fingers cut off with that one. He starts getting dragged away by our people to get to safety, so hopefully... But judging by the trailer for the next episode, it looks like we're going to kind of answer some of these questions from the last part of it.
Yeah. Do you think the Commonwealth is going to go up against the Reapers, or do you think that it's going to be our group from Alexandria that's going to go against the Reapers on their own?
That's a good question. I don't know, because we don't know how big the Reapers are yet. We don't know how many people there are, because it just looks like if all the people they have are the ones that were walking in the street, it might have been like a little
small.
Exactly. There might have been just about a dozen or 20 people or something like that. Yeah. So maybe ours could take them out. It seems like they do work at night, because if they're the same people that Maggie talked about,
by the time you see them,
you're already dead. So they seem to do really well at night. So I don't know if that means...
It was a good pep talk, by the way. What the hell? Yeah, we're going to go after the Reapers. By the time you see them, you're already dead.
It's like, oh, great. I have a lot of confidence in that one. But I don't know. Do they have some sort of night vision goggles?
I would love to have, in this apocalyptic world, night vision goggles / heat vision goggles. If they're finding enough batteries for all these flashlights at this point, I'm sure they could probably find some batteries for a heat infrared vision, which would be perfect, especially because now you could see who's alive and who's dead. Yeah. Right? You could
walkers,
pick up, unless they have a fever. I know some stories, the walkers have a fever.
I don't know if I've ever thought about if walkers are cold or not. Yeah. I think I would just assume they were cold.
Yeah, I know. That's what I think,
because dead people get cold. Yeah.
But I'm sure it would show up in infrared.
Maybe.
Which would be awesome.
That would be. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that would be a huge advantage to have those.
Yeah. So do you think that wraps it up?
I think
that's the end of the episode.
Well, there were some questions from the Talking Dead.
Okay, yeah, we'll talk about that.
I mean, we kind of already discussed this a little bit, but did Maggie make the right call with Gage?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
I think that was her cold, calculated side that was making that decision.
Yeah.
I think if it were Maggie from a couple of years ago,
yeah,
I think she definitely would have tried to save him.
I agree. She would have fought for that a little bit more. And this leads me to my next question of, do you think that Maggie would have opened the door if it was Daryl on the other side and not Gage?
Absolutely.
There is no doubt in my mind that she would try and get it open for Daryl.
Again, I think a big part of her reasoning of letting him die was because that he chickened out.
Yeah.
She felt he was a coward. Mm-hmm. He took the ammo.
Yeah, and the supplies.
Supplies. I think that was a big risk. She felt that he was a liability.
Yeah.
At that point.
Yeah.
Daryl has never been anything but an asset.
Oh God.
In the biggest sense of the the word.
Yeah, even in the beginning when we first meet him in season 1, and then we meet Merle too. You realize they're brothers, and you're like, crap, because Rick handcuffed his brother to the freaking roof of that building. But yeah, even at that point,
I'm sorry. No, Daryl was really built for this world in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, he
knew how to hunt.
Yeah, I was just gonna say.
Verbally and I think physically abused by his brother and his family previous to this.
Yeah.
So he already had some psychological scarring. Mm-hmm. And then he knew how to track and all that.
Yeah. Man, I love Daryl. I love him so much. I can't wait to get into the season 1 Daryl, and then as it progresses, and then you can see how Daryl and Rick become closer and closer. Mm-hmm. I love that relationship so much, and again, this will be something that we get into more in depth when we start rewatching the seasons. But it broke my heart to see how Daryl was handling Rick being gone, and because it was up in the air for so long. Daryl didn't know if Rick was dead. Daryl didn't know if Rick was alive. So he just kept searching. And
it hurt him really bad.
It did. So
probably more than his actual brother.
Oh, absolutely. I 1,000% agree, because even though Merle was his blood brother, I feel that Daryl found Rick to be more of his brother than his actual blood brother. And
a good moral support.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a good guidance, and he was just a good role model, really. Yeah. And man, Daryl just became such a great asset to the team. And it sucks, but it's interesting because Daryl isn't even in the comic from what we know. Yeah. So this part was just made in the TV show. So I wonder if they always had if they always had Norman Reedus picked out for this role. Yeah. Because I feel like at one point we knew that answer, but I don't remember now. So we'll have to find that out as we rewatch everything. So one more thing I want to say about from the Talking Dead. They had asked, do you think Daryl will prove Beth right in the end and be one of the last men standing? Because on this episode of The Talking Dead, they had Josh McDermott, who plays Eugene. They had Emily Kinney, who plays Beth, and they had Lauren Cohan, who plays Maggie. So they asked that question. I think they asked Beth that question.
I think so.
Yeah. So what do you think? Do you think Daryl will survive to the end?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
Will he be the last? That would be interesting if they end the whole series with him recounting. I don't know how they're going to end this. I had an idea at one point, but that has been proved wrong. I'll get to that when we get to it. Yeah. But yeah, I would be shocked if they killed him now. I'd be heartbroken.
Me too. So I think you'd have a lot of piss off people too.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely rooting that he's going to be one of the last people alive.
Me too. And we've also heard rumors, now they're just rumors, we don't know if it's real, that there could be a spinoff with Daryl and Carol. So that also makes me think that maybe they won't kill him off, because it's almost guaranteed that he's going to make it. Yeah. If it's going to be a continuation. Yeah. If it happens to be if they start going in depth with anything with Negan, with Daryl, with what he's been through throughout seasons 1 through 11, maybe they'll go more in depth. But I feel like they also don't want to revisit that stuff too. Mm-hmm. But who knows? Maybe they will. I don't know how they're going to do it.
Those two, Daryl and Carol, they have a lot of emotional baggage from really, really early on.
In just before the apocalypse.
Yeah. And they are both massive badasses.
Yeah, they are. They are.
Carol. I mean,
know.
we're going to get to some amazing episodes with Carol. She's like one of the best characters.
She really is.
Absolutely.
And I loved seeing her transition, too, from being so meek. And, I can't wait to revisit starting at season 1 when we first meet her. And
I'm excited for that.
Maybe the second or no, we don't meet her maybe the second or the third episode we meet her. But either way, it's obviously definitely season 1. So I really can't wait to meet her again there and us discuss it in a podcast and then see how she progresses.
Yeah.
And she gets stronger and stronger and more independent.
Yeah.
Man, she is a great character. So I don't know, that might wrap it up for this talk of the episode. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of our Dead Talk as we discussed The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 2, titled Acheron Part 2.
Tune into our next podcast when we discuss The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 3, titled Hunted.
We hope you'll come back to listen to that one.
Bye.
Bye.